Mic check 1 2 3. Good, because I am having all sorts of tech issues today. I appreciate it. After this, I'm going to have to do a deep dive and make sure all my drivers are up to date, make sure everything's working, because some stuff has been problematic today. How are you today, Atlam? Yeah, we're great, actually. Thank you for asking. Hope you and yours are well as well. Um, as we approach the holiday, there's been a lot of activity. You know, we don't travel or anything or have tons of family around or friends, you know, because of my wife's fragile state. Though we do have one friend coming over for Christmas Eve who is aware of our situation and is sensitive to it. So that's awesome, and it's nice to have her over. She's a really close friend of my wife's, and they hang out from time to time, so that's going to be awesome. And we're doing filet mignon for dinner, so I'm really hyped on that. The wife's going all out. Hello! Do you see me? Am I here? I know we were having green screen issues last week, and you hear me, you see me. Do you hear the music just light in the background? Hey, Sack, how are you doing, friend? Dag, how are you? Cartographer, welcome back. Hope you're well. Is Steam live for anyone yet? Because I'm not seeing it. I do have TikTok, though, so I'm watching that. I'm gonna refresh Steam again. There it is. There's the flavor. Okay, Steam is live for me. Keeping an eye on that bad boy. Dude, I am so impressed with this. I loaded it up earlier today to take a peek at it. And I really like it. Let me turn the music up just a skosh. And we'll go from there. It's at 17. Let me make sure the stream feed is a little bit higher. How about that? It is very faint. It's only about like 1/4, 1/3 of the overall stream sound because I don't like drowning it out. Plus, I don't want to risk it getting like copyright striked. Even though it's copyright safe music, sometimes it happens on random sites. I've had it happen on Facebook before, even though the creator of this music says it's copyright safe, so I don't know. Smooth jazz. Yeah, it's kind of like a... It's actually, this particular track is called Adiantum Leaves, and I think all of this music is themed around just like a Minecraft aesthetic. Just kind of like a smooth vibe and chill. By the way, happy holidays from the team at Dungeon Alchemist to everyone watching right now. I just want to welcome you all. My name is Mac. I am the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Dungeon Alchemist is a map-making tool that is available on Steam. We offer a free demo that you can try before you buy, see how it runs on your system. Dungeon Alchemist is also on sale right now during the Steam Winter Sale. It's 20% off. It's the best deal you'll get on DA pretty much ever. I've never really seen it lower than that. So if you're looking to buy a copy for yourself or maybe gift one to that DM you love, make sure you take a look at the Steam sale and try out the demo. And I do want to say welcome back to everyone who is a regular or repeat viewer. a repeat mapper, I should say. Damn fam, I do appreciate you being here, especially in the holiday, weeks when there's travel and friends and family and activities of all kinds keeping you away from streams and mapping. So thank you everyone for being here during this kind of crazy hectic time of the year. Most of the Dungeon Alchemist staff is actually checked out till I think around January 6th is when they'll be back. I am going to be here mostly around, but there are a few streams that have been canceled. The next 2 office hours have been nixed because they fall on holidays. So let's take a look at the calendar here. The 25th and the 1st, New Year's Day and Christmas. So the next 2 office hour streams not happening, I'm afraid. So I'm just letting you know in advance they're being canceled, and I'm sorry for that. Oh, nice, Cartographer. I am excited to see your entry. Honestly, it's a great gift for a DM or a friend that is looking to start DMing, a fledgling DM, if you will. Or, if you are on the fence yourself, take a look. But anyway, enough about that, the sale and whatnot. Let's talk about this beautiful map. I found this map on the workshop this morning. It was provided by the amazing cartographer Sack. Sack is a very prolific map maker in our community who shares amazing, beautiful, handcrafted maps and an assortment of assets on the workshop. So if you've downloaded assets or maps from the workshop, you may recognize him. This honestly is a brilliant build. I'm very impressed with the work that went into it. I took a close look earlier and I thought this warranted sharing with the community. Really quickly, just a quick shout out to a couple creators and others in the community. So John Manning and John Mack, thank you from Facebook for liking and following the stream. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. One of my New Year's resolutions is to do better about shouting out follows and likes and subscribes, because for the longest time it wasn't necessarily like, I don't know, I feel like there is a subset of viewers that will like hunt for streamers that shout that out, and they crave that interaction, and they will maliciously follow, get the shout out, and then unfollow. And for a while as a content creator, I just did away with shouting out people on my personal channel, and that was like a personal stance. When I started streaming on the Dungeon Alchemist channel full time, I decided that, I was not going to do that because, as well, I don't know, personal preference and a combination of, branding and a few other things. And I think this next year going forward, we're going to put an emphasis more on, building up these legs of our stream on these different platforms and supporting and shouting out the various people who do support it. So we just got to follow on TikTok. Thank you. I believe it's Vipo99 for that follow. Much appreciated. Lemuel, no and yes. These roofs that you're seeing here, these were assets that were located on the Steam Workshop. Everyone in our community has access to them. All you have to do is click Steam Workshop right here in the top. I'm surprised people don't know about this, actually. And then this tab is quite awesome because you have access to over 10,000, well, now 400 maps. So quite a few maps. And over 7,000 assets, almost 7,400. One more and we hit 7,400. These assets expand your ability to do things in Dungeon Alchemist that you normally couldn't do. There's lots of tokens, animals, different things that aren't in our stock asset base. Some things that even dip into other aesthetics like cyberpunk, sci-fi, etc. Like, here's a ship. I've seen some beautiful and brilliant sci-fi maps as of late because of the contributions and the amazing creators who have shared assets on the workshop. Now, back to my point. If you pop in here and you start looking at, say, the collections, there are collections that users in our community have catered and put together that are essentially groupings of similar assets. So some of them are houses, buildings, like this one here, wharf assets. Here is modular medieval village. Here is modular or medieval prefab houses. The houses in this build that you're looking at, these are them. So essentially, SAC took advantage of the assets on the workshop, downloaded them, but then put in some special touches like the lighting and the little Christmas lights and wreaths, stuff like that, to make it really feel lived in and more real. Ooh, the broken window's a nice touch. I didn't notice that on my first pass. So these houses are available to anyone who has a legitimate copy of Dungeon Alchemist and can click on the Steam Workshop tab. Oh, it's a snowball splat? Definitely check out the collections, and one thing about the collections, anyone can create a collection. Even if you've never uploaded a single asset to the workshop, you can create a collection. Meaning you could be like, wow, there's a whole lot of maybe animals on the workshop. And you're like, I want to put all the animals into a single collection so people could download all of the fauna in a single download, right? You could do the community a favor, put some time in, build a collection, share it with everyone. It is optional, you don't have to do that, but Steam allows anyone to create a collection of any asset on the workshop or anything on the workshop. And all you have to do is when you're on Steam, whether it's through your web browser or Steam itself, when you're looking at Dungeon Alchemist in the workshop, you just click Browse right here, click Collections. Hey Stratus, welcome back. How you doing, buddy? And then within Collections, you notice here it says tokens and a few other things. You can do most recent, most popular. I like to sort by most recent or most last updated, because then you see when things have been added most recently. So there's tokens, there's a sci-fi pack, Dungeon Dross. Here's a collection of maps from the Dam Challenge that I put together. So this is every winner in the Dam Challenge since we started tracking, and there was the workshop to allow for that, because the workshop wasn't always available. It's not always been a constant. Anyway, looking at this here, there's hundreds of collections that you can look at and sort through, and they really help you download tons of themed or similar assets in a quick little, concise download. Hey, Fozzie Bear. Waka waka! Sorry, I just had to do that. Lemuel, that's awesome to hear. So you made a landing page and a bunch of encounter maps? That's good to hear. Have your players enjoyed the maps? That's what I need to know. Good to hear. I'm glad to hear it. Hey, Kowser. It is a pretty map. This map was shared by SAC on the Steam Workshop. It's actually available to anyone if you go to Browse Maps and just sort by most recent. If you own a copy of Dungeon Alchemist, you could download this map and several variations of it and use it in your campaigns right away. Thank you again, SAC, for sharing this fantastic build. Fozzie, I hope I didn't scare you away. I'm actually a big Muppet fan. I guess it's not Muppets in this case. Well, no, it is Muppets. Jim Henson's Muppets, Fozzie, yes. There's several puppet crews, and I get them confused. But honestly, I've been a long-time Muppet fan since I was a kid. So I hope I didn't, scare you away with that. Muppet Christmas Carol, Muppet Treasure Island, some of the greats, really the only versions of those movies that actually matter. Oh my goodness. So, how's everyone's holiday week going? What you been up to? I also noticed, Fozzie, that you might have followed us over on Twitch. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I'm not going to call them out anymore. Oh, you're Urkow. Gotcha. Gotcha. Welcome back, Urkow. You have multiple handles, I see. Good to know. This is a beautiful map, though, Zach. I really love all the different storefronts. It's a shame you didn't get it finished before window shopping. Oh my goodness, I love it. Hey, Jeremy, welcome to the stream. Happy Yuletide and Solstice to yourself. Muppet Treasure Island is dope. Hey, Michael, Michelle, I guess you're following us everywhere now, huh? Diligent, I appreciate it. This is a lamp store. I Love Lamp is what it's called. Hi, Hero, welcome back. Tim Curry is brilliant. Honestly, one of my favorite actors of all time. Well, welcome to the community, or the Damn Fam, or the Damn Nation, as I like to call it, Fozzie. I don't mean to call you out earlier. Your name is just really awesome. So thank you for dropping into the stream. My name is Mac. I'm the community manager, the very outspoken and silly community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Also, ravishingly handsome, I've heard, from many people. It's weird. Tons of people just come up to me after the stream and say it. Anyway, moving on. Enough about that. Today's stream is called the Damn Stream. We're here showing off maps and 3D models shared on the Steam Workshop by our amazing community of cartographers. If you don't know, as an owner of Dungeon Alchemist, you get access to the Steam Workshop through this tab here, and there's over 10,000 maps and over 7,000 3D models to supplement what you can already access in DA natively. So really helps to up the ante there. John, I know both Rocky Horror and Clue, so it puts me in between both. Honestly, Tim Curry's been all over the map. He's done lots of little spots on TV over the years. He was in Psych as a guest role, one of my favorite guest roles in Psych, in 8 seasons. Tim Curry was in Hunt for Red October. Tim Curry was in, let's see here, he was in Lex. Tim Curry was in so many movies over the years. Prolific actor, very, very iconic. Oh, Psych is so good. By the way, thank you for the like earlier. And Atlam and Tam, thank you for the likes as well. He was in it. Oh my gosh. Three Musketeers, Legend. Yes! Let's keep going. So many movies. Yes, he was in Command and Conquer or Red Alert. In their little skits they would put in the cutscenes between things. I am going to escape to the one place that is not infected by unfettered capitalism. Space! Oscar. Yes, Oscar was a good movie with, what's his name? Rocky Balboa was in it as well. That is actually a movie not many people know about. Sylvester Stallone, yes. Why is he drawn a blank for me? He's actually really famous. I should have remembered that. Oscar is a really good film, actually. Hey, thank you for that follow on TikTok, Michelle. Much appreciated. Okay, let's get back to this beautiful, iconic veggie shop here. How they are keeping all these veggies pristine in the middle of the winter is a miracle to me. But I appreciate it. It says fresh today even. They're very cocky. Let's hear about this, Zach. Can you elaborate on this? Oscar is a really good film. I had never seen it until my mom married my stepfather, and it was a family favorite movie of theirs. They watched it like once a week, and I had never seen it before, and they're like, you have to watch Oscar, you have to watch Oscar. And then we started watching it all the time. It grew on me. It's a pretty good comedy. It's very witty. It's like around the Prohibition times in the US, and essentially it centers around a long-winded joke about a character named Oscar, and who is only in the show for like a minuscule moment. And the movie is about like all these intertwined relationships and comedic instances of like bootleggers during the Prohibition. I'd be a little worried. I mean, electricity in a semi like Dickinson era like could happen in a city-wide scope, but like I still think people would have like not refrigeration, lighting, yes, you know. Dyson. Everyone's like, magic. It's fine. I get it. It's a map for a fantasy setting, but he did also call it a Christmas Carol. So I have to rag on him for that a little bit because, it does have an actual setting. Little sus. That's all I'm wondering about. There's no ice in sight. Sack. I absolutely love this map. I adore it. It's beautiful. You did a great job. Taters. Hot. Yeah, you need a greenhouse map, Sack. ASAP. Let's do it. And if you already have one, you need another one. Sorry, the other one won't be acceptable. Need a new one. Need 3. I like the steam coming off the taters, though. Through the magic of Smizmas. This is lovely. I'm sure the town wino loves this shop. Pop in every day for a bottle. It's made just for them. This is great. Oh my gosh, you went all out. This is beautiful. Love it. However, I'm a little worried about the precariously open place sewer hatch right next to the wine shop. It's a recipe for disaster. Ooh, it's like Mario. We just denim down this hole, and then we pop up somewhere else. That's fantastic. Right here? Right, Jeremy? That's where the sommeliers spit. That's great. I've already given away the answer to this, but what kind of clothing does Mario wear? Yeah, I see it right there. It is a beautifully detailed map. Tiny secret burial? Not sleeping tonight. What is this, sap? This map is 34 by 34. By the way, anyone can check the size of a map at a glance by highlighting the little chevrons located in the corner. The color is different depending on your personal settings and your DA. So if you go to settings and go to grid, whatever your grid color is, that changes the chevron color. I like green because it pops. Excuse me. But you can grab this and pull on it or contract it. This will expand your map or shrink it on command. Another benefit of knowing the size of the map at a glance. Tiny secret burial. Tiny secret burial hiding. Oh, there it is. Found it. Yeah, Sabka, you can totally change the grid color. If you go to File, Settings, Grid, you have a bunch of grid options. So let's turn the grid on first off so we can see it. You can adjust the transparency, make it very, very vibrant or very, very transparent to the point it's almost not visible. And you can change the color. So you can adjust it to be more fitting to the map you're making. In this case, blue actually fits really well. Oh, I totally answered Lemuel's question, by the way, Atlam. "4 hours a night since the 5th of November. Dang, son. It's impressive. Take a look at this shop. What we got here? Fabrics, hats, perfumery. This is a bonnet shop. Will definitely help, Sabka. I hope that helps. No worries, no worries. I just wanted to let you know I did, in fact, see it and answer it. I love this shop. By the way, Sabka, hotkey, Alt-G. Everyone watching, do that really quick if you're in DA. Alt-G. That turns your grid on or off really quick. Was there... I didn't see a fez. Those are, these look like wizard caps. Like, kind of like Mickey from Fantasia. Is there a fez in here? Zach, did I miss a fez? Because that would be hilariously cool. Okay, so Fozzie Bear on YouTube asks, I use FGU. Is there a max size for exporting? That's a great question. Because when you export for virtual tabletops, i.e. Fantasy Grounds, Foundry, Roll20, they all have individual limitations. Some things you need to take into account, Fozzie. First and foremost, when exporting for a virtual tabletop, I highly recommend... Let's go into the Fantasy Grounds export so we can just do exactly what you're doing. I recommend setting to 72 DPI. Now, I know it says low quality, and that's counterintuitive. You want to provide the best quality for your players, right? But during online play, low quality ends up being the best quality for a lot of reasons. You have lots of different things that go into an online session, whether you're hosting it from your local computer or through a third party. The size of the map, both file size and physical size of the map. The map's actual like megabytes, there's a limitation that Fantasy Grounds has. They have a resolution limitation as well. So these things are things you want to consider when exporting a map for Fantasy Grounds or any virtual tabletop. This stands everywhere across the board. The other thing you want to keep in mind is one of your players, and this is pretty much just law of average. You may beat the average, and all your players could be streamer gamers that have top tier, amazing PCs and internet. But more often than not, every group has one player who has either a really let's just say formidable ISP that has like throttling or limited data that really causes problems, or they have a potato computer that's ran by hamsters. So one or the other is usually an issue, and you may have multiple players with this. And as a result of which, you want to keep your maps small, trim, concise, and easy to load. The smaller the DPI, the smaller the map's file size is, and the less resolution it uses up. Now, in a smaller map that's, say, 20 by 20, you could easily get away with a very high quality or a high quality. But these DPIs are intended for print maps, i.e. you're going to print them and play locally on a big, poster. Or you're playing locally on a TV tabletop or a projector tabletop. Because bandwidth and computer isn't an issue, you factor out all those issues by hosting it locally. So, basically, you want to cater your session as a DM, produce your session to that weakest link in the chain. Because otherwise, you're always going to have that player that can't load in. They're going to be struggling. The screen's dark for them. They can't see anything. It ruins everything thematically, slows everything down, right? Catering your gameplay to the weakest link in the chain, that's just smart gameplay. So what I recommend, do a low quality export at 72 dpi, no matter what the size, and then make another one at a higher quality. You can have 2 scenes on your VTT. Try the higher quality first or the animated first. If that doesn't work, default to the standard JPEG at a lower DPI. And I tell you this from experience as someone who is that has played a lot and have been in instances where the game just came to a halt because one player couldn't load a particular map. You're kind of blocking my light, though. It is blocking that, actually. It's weird. What is messing with my green screen? Hey, Bears. Thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Sorry I missed that a bit ago. There could be fezzes. Hey, Mosey. By the way, speaking of which, Mosey, I should be streaming tonight. I figure out what's going on with my green screen. Is it just like reflecting puppy? What is that? How long has it been like that? I didn't even notice. By the way, this is Seymour. He's a good boy. He just had a bath and he's just coming to say hi to the stream and see Dad and get a hug. Fozzie, I am all about good advice. I'm here to guide your campaign and your map making journey to make it as easy as possible. In fact, everyone watching wants you to know if you have any questions during the stream, suggestions, feedback, concerns, whatever. Whether you're new to Dungeon Alchemist the last couple days, the last couple hours, or you've been a member of our community for years, you can come into these streams and ask me questions and share, feedback and whatnot. I'm here for you. That's the point of these streams at the end of the day. I will stop whatever I'm doing to provide real-time support. And I find that is incredibly helpful and valuable. And by the way, that's in AMA format, which means ask me anything. So you can drop in the stream and be like, hey, how do I export? Hey, how do I make this in a map? How do I do multi-level by hand? Hey, where is this asset on the workshop? He has been walking on sunshine. That's exactly why we picked his name, Lemuel. Good pick. Yep, we're big fans of Futurama. And he actually kind of looks like Seymour, just a little bit when he's a little dirty and scruffly. And his little collar, he has like a little, tag that shows his name and our, info to get in touch with us. But we put a ship on it, and it says, I'm walking on sunshine on it. So we went, all leaning into that. He's a cutie boy, though. However, I can't get him to bark to the song yet. I've tried many times. He won't bark when he's being held, first off. That's like dogging 101 with this boy. Oof. But he's a cutie. He's just kind of napping on my shoulder. Go have a good bath. Good boy. In with mom, you shiver boy. Go get on your heat pad. Arm up. He is not made for the woods. His wolf ancestors would look at him and be proud and ashamed at the same time. Yeah, actually, that green screen made me feel like I was, like, my aura was really centered on tree-based content. Okay, Sapka, let me read this really quick. Need to get a tan. Holy cow, I am pale. Need to get out in the sun more. Okay. Besides that, let's answer this question. Actually, there's one thing I'm super curious about. I made some canyon maps, and using only the terrain tool to draw paths. Oh no, I just lost all of that because beam of links. Oh, okay, where is it? Seems boring to me. Placing rocks and pebbles makes it look so artificial. You know what I mean? I'm struggling to find a solution for my inner peace. Okay, so first and foremost, I want to let you know that canyons and the like are very unpredictable. Despite what we feel like a canyon may look like, there is hundreds of millions of examples on this planet, and they all are different. So I want you to, first off, take a step back and just breathe. And then secondly, I want you to try and go in and see if maybe any of the Badlands or desert canyons that generate might be to your liking. So Badlands is my favorite for this. You go in and you go Grand Canyon, for instance. You could say water or no water. Flooded. Why is there only flooded? Huh. We'll do river. We'll just remove the river after. And then we could select plant life as no vegetation or dry bushes. Mimic cash register. Yeah, Jeremy, it is one. Spelljammer is possible, but mainly through support with our Steam Workshop integration and the community, assets and maps that have been shared there. I do think a later update we will be focusing on what is one of our updates is called High Seas that is planned later. And High Seas is a focus on seas, oceans. And seas also could be the astral sea. I'm just kind of throwing that out there. I'm hoping we address to a degree astral planes and other types of space. So one thing, have you tried just generating to see if there's a map that comes out with a canyon you're happy with, Sapka? That's one. I'm sorry, what do you mean, Roy? So we took a lot of painstaking effort to make sure that the AI generation for canyons is actually pretty decent. And then remember, at the end of the day, if you want to dry out this canyon, you can just go into the terrain tool and click that sponge, wipe out the water, and now you have like a really dried out canyon. This is just a Badlands generation really quickly. I mean, we could regenerate the map over and over again. see what we come up with. But overall, I think at the end of the day, these ravines and Grand Canyons do make really good canyons. Okay, well, now let's change this to snow, right? So we could make a snowy desert map, or we could change this to a snow biome, set it to ravine, right? Change terrain. Again, yeah, I agree with Atlam there. There are quite a bit of assets now on the workshop that can help supplement and give you like post-apocalypse and other things if you're looking for it. There probably is some nuclear bombs on the workshop, if I'm being honest. Try bomb. See what we got. Okay. How about nuke? Nope. Okay. How about... So it doesn't look like we have a bomb on here. Little boy. No, okay. I was hoping someone named it from the nicknames, but I don't know. I haven't seen a nuke on here. Let's try missile. That being said, you could always upload an asset to the workshop or save one locally by using the asset importer. So if you don't have one that you're happy with that's on the workshop or there's none locally, you could always import one and then add it to your map. Dungeon Alchemist is primarily going to be a fantasy aesthetic for the time being, which means, you know, assets that are primarily in that, you know, older time period or fantasy setting. So we do branch into some kind of like steampunk or Western stuff with some of our assets. But for the most part, until we leave early access, everything will be in that kind of area, that bubble. Once we leave early access, the devs have committed to offering optional expansions. These expansions will allow you to essentially add on to the existing full-featured Dungeon Alchemist and use it as a map-making program, but have access to, say, a cyberpunk aesthetic or a sci-fi aesthetic. So you'd have all the core Dungeon Alchemist content plus a cyberpunk pack on top. So, say, thousands of cyberpunk assets and maybe, you know, 100 tokens and tons of doors, windows, walls, and floors, room types, etc. that all fit that aesthetic. And by the way, I can kind of tone down the snow on this map, so just have it like it's melted a bit off the trees and it's just in the mountains by turning off the weather here. Is there a bullet bill on there? Yeah, I don't know. Be kind of a... We need like a bomb on here that looks like a nuke, I guess. Yeah, you'll have to wait until we leave early access to get something like that, Roy. But for now, I'll be honest with you, if you pop into the workshop, there are literally hundreds of Apocalypse maps now. A creator just shared one like the other day that was insane. We were looking at this on Steam. I might actually be sub to it still. Yeah, it's Vault 234 from Fallout. This map is nuts. Let me load it up. Mosey, yes, you can. Under the terrain tab, there is, under the paint, where you paint terrain and liquids, there is now an option to sponge up the water. It was added in the most recent update, so you might have missed it. You can upload Fat Boy. I mean, if you do like the Fallout style, where they're kind of like destroyed looking, or like they've been sitting around and the paint's scratched, or just a traditional Fat Boy is fine. The Fat Boy style, I think, would probably be better, though. Or Fat Man, isn't it? It's Little Boy, Fat Man, right? Are the two styles? The traditional, like, old school Fallout, whatever. Wait, I'm confused. I'm talking about like the real old, like, yeah, I don't know. I swear I did a report on the Manhattan Project, and those were the names, the actual names of the bombs. Little Boy, Fat Man. I could be wrong, though. Maybe there's a combined one for Fallout, and it's just like its own thing. But the Fat Man style that is like big, and I think that's what they're looking for. So this map, this is where you go into it to just get started, but it is several types of nuts. Ceilings placed by hand. Fallout map. If you look at the cinematic mode tutorial, which showed before you used it, actually. Oh no, it's blanked out. What? Why is it blanked out? That's bugged. It's, okay, my bad. You know what? That is weird. So, depending on your perspective, it's E and Q. But if you're looking down, E is forward. So it really depends on the camera's perspective. But if the camera's facing directly forward, E and Q. What the heck is up with that tutorial? I gotta point that out. They might be updating it and didn't realize that it's blank. Because, yeah, that is completely blank. What the heck? Okay, let's get back into this. I don't even know what I did here. Yeah, sorry about that. Normally, the tutorial gives you all that information, but it is blank. That is good to know. So this map was made with some care. The creator made sure that these doors have no colliders in the center, which allows you to pass through them. So anywhere these, like, you know, cool sci-fi doors were, you could pass through the vault doors. Otherwise, it was DA doors. That's smart, right, Sack? Instead of having a door that's animated that opens and closes, which makes the file larger, you just clear out the collider and allow you to pass through. So as long as you're aware of that, you can navigate the map in first person. Honestly, I looked around in this map for like a half hour yesterday, and I got lost. I couldn't find everything in it. Quite a bit going on. But it is definitely a Fallout map, and if anyone says to the contrary, I like, this is very Fallout. Like, this is so good for being done within DA. Hey, Shlomo, welcome back. It is really cool. So, raise of hands, how many fans of Fallout do we have, you know, in the crowd? Practice, my friend Lemuel, practice. So, when I was growing up, my dad, anytime I was like struggling with something and failing, I'm sure a lot of people said this before him, but he would always say, practice makes perfect. And he would insist that I say it over and over and over again. And then I told my son the same thing. Anytime you're working at something, and I think nowadays that's kind of a lost concept, to be honest with you. Like, a lot of people expect everything to be very easy and straightforward, or like kind of like there's a tutorial that guides you from step A to step B and it's done. And like, unfortunately, sometimes with software and other things, it does take a little bit of practice. And with Dungeon Alchemist especially, you shouldn't be afraid to roll up your sleeves a little bit and, you know, dive in and do a little bit of research and a little bit of work. And to be honest, the results are phenomenal. If you're using the AI generation to make maps, just environments and rooms, you're going to make amazing, quick, simple maps that will stun your players. But if you're diving in and building by hand, you'll get this. And it does take a little bit of practice, a little bit of time, but within, you know, I bet you within 40 to 100 hours, you could start churning out maps of this quality. if you just put a little bit of effort into learning the various advanced duels and things within DA. Hey, Stormy. One particular thing that helps with building this, the probably most important tool, is the collision toggle. And I'm going to give everyone some 2 cents on this right now. So, if you disable collisions in Dungeon Alchemist, it unlocks, like, a lot of stuff. Several things, not just collisions. And collisions means you can merge objects together that you wouldn't normally be able to, right? With collisions on, you get that red collider saying no, and it won't let you put something there normally. With collisions off, you can merge objects together to make new combinations of objects, first off. Secondly, when collisions are off, you can scale many objects far above and below their normal constraints. It unlocks the scaling of pretty much almost all objects, except for objects that affix themselves to the floor, like a pit or a downward stair, or wall-based objects like a wall-mounted lantern or something like that. Now, moving on from that, the last and most important aspect of disabling collisions is this right here. You see this number? If collisions are on, that's gone. If collisions are off, you can raise and lower objects. When you have collisions disabled, all of a sudden, you can raise things up, lower things down, scale them up and down beyond their normal constraints, and merge them together. This opens up a whole realm of possibility, okay? With the thousands of objects that are stock in DA, regular objects, structural objects like these that you can build, structures out of, and objects available on the workshop, and someone who knows how to use this to their advantage, the collision toggle, it's a very powerful combination. Now, putting that in with a few other, little tools, if you look at the collision the object panel, and it might be hard to see this in the corner, the sail thing might be in the way. It says shift, place multiple objects, control, toggle the snap. All over DA are little hints teaching you about various aspects of it, hotkeys and stuff. You may overlook it, but they're there. So when you are placing an object in Dungeon Alchemist, let's say I'm placing this. If I press shift as I place it, it duplicates it. So I can quickly duplicate this object over and over again. If I hold control instead, it snaps. This allows you to kind of get some sort of control over the object. Snapping allows walls to align, floors to align, etc. As long as they're a uniform size, they start fitting into place. Now, all of these things in tandem allows you to build something like this. From the top outside, it doesn't look like much, but when you're inside this build, it is phenomenal. Lemuel, are you in our Discord by chance? I honestly think the collision toggle is probably one of the most powerful tools in Dungeon Alchemist, and I do think it needs a refresh. I think what this needs to do is say advanced right here, right? Instead of collisions, because it does 3 things, and it shouldn't just say collisions. It should say advanced, and then it opens an advanced menu, kind of like this, right? And in that advanced menu, you can disable collisions, enable the Z-axis, raising objects up and down, and disable, like, scaling, like unlock scaling. But it is pro mode, essentially, right now. It is confusing because it just says collisions, but it does several things. These are just objects, Shlomo. Objects will show. These are literally liberally placed tiles, every one of them. I didn't make this map, but I can tell you from experience, a lot of work went into this. This was all hand placed. These are probably like designated as floors. It says cable corridor floor, but because it's an object, it can be raised up and down like I just shared. and they got it to a set height, and then they started copying it and snapping them together. And before you know it, they had a ceiling. So getting it to the set size and height is a little bit of work, but copying it really doesn't take long. Where's the restroom? I actually feel like there was a restroom in here. Let's look. So the collision toggle is easily one of the most powerful tools in Dungeon Alchemist. If I had to pair it with another powerful tool, I'd say the Steam Workshop and everything it entails, i.e. access to over 10,000 maps shared by our community of very, very passionate and prolific map makers, and the access to 7,400 3D models shared by creators in our community. I mean, it is insane how quick that has grown and expanded. And that paired with the fact that anyone in our community, should they choose to, can import an asset into Dungeon Alchemist. By the way, I found the bathroom. No, I shouldn't have backed out. No, I keep doing that on like an accident. Undoing. Oh no. Where's the entry? There it is. Anyway, a lot of these assets here are like things on the workshop or stock assets in the structural section. What I would recommend doing is go to Steam Workshop, click Browse Assets, type Roof. And remember, a floor can be a roof if it's raised up enough and looks like an adequate piece. So there's hundreds of roofing options in here, but also within DA and also on there are floors and other things. But like this carbon fiber roof is actually part of an asset collection that is labeled as sci-fi, I believe. Yeah, these. So you could download like this sci-fi starter pack. It comes with tons of flooring, but they're technically can work as roof too because they can be raised up. That's awesome. Were you playing in person or were you streaming it, Shlomo? Nice. I bet you they like that. Now, I'll remind you, and I'll remind everyone really quickly, our next update, which, I mean, we are getting close to. We are, like, so close. It's going to launch in Q1 of next year. And it will include multi-level, meaning you'll be able to generate multi-level with this tool, okay? Roofing, and all the like, instead of having to do all this by hand. By hand will still have a place for custom and sci-fi and stuff like that, but when it comes to the stock stuff, multi-level will be so much easier going forward after this next update. Just to give you an idea of how simple and straightforward this will be, here's a little Artificer's Workshop. It really does help, Shlomo, especially if you have players that are more visual. You know, like they need to see it to comprehend it better instead of like they can't really see it in their mind's eye. If you have a player that is more visual, showing them the map in first person is an incredibly powerful narrative tool. I have played in a couple campaigns where the DMs will follow along in first person, just kind of catch up to us every room we move through, and then we can ask them, hey, DM, can you take a closer look at this painting on the wall, or this desk? Can you take a look at what the content's on the top of it, or open this cabinet or chest in the corner? The DM will, in real time, investigate for us. And some things require a check or require inspiration to do, and it's a neat kind of interactive tool that is a way to play that you've never really been able to in the past. You know, Roy G, that's a good question, and I think it boils down to preference. Roy G on YouTube asks, what can be better than Roll20? Roll20 is a great tool, and it's simple for your players. As a player, I love Roll20. The interface is simple, straightforward, doesn't have a whole lot of UI to mess with, and it just pretty much works for the most part. As long as their online service is working good that day, it works. I had some trouble during the pandemic when everyone was on all the time. That was a different story. Their service has grown. Now, one drawback, it costs monthly to gain most of the benefits. The free plan doesn't get a lot of the benefits, including maps of ours that export with walls, line of sight, windows, doors, lighting. All the data for that is not included in the basic plan. You need a pro plan to take advantage of that. You can still import the maps just as an image, right? Now, every VTT has its pros and cons, but some have more tooling and features, but they also come with a steep learning curve. Now, they're talking about Foundry in chat right now. Foundry is a very powerful tool, but I think it's a double-edged sword as someone who's used it extensively as a player and a DM. It does have a steep learning curve for both your players and for DMs. But as you grow into the tool, it is so comprehensive and expansive and could do pretty much anything you want it to do. I think Roll20 on the opposite edge of the coin, much simpler, but then you have the monthly fee. One thing I don't like about Roll20 is also their limitations. They have a file size limitation of, I think it's like 20 megabytes for anime or for still maps. You know, that's kind of a small limit in the modern age, especially if you want to try and do like an animated map, which they don't really natively support that well. So, you know, it lacks animated maps. You have a monthly fee if you want to fully take advantage of all the benefits of Dungeon Alchemist with it. And that's not our choice, that's their choice. And they have limitations on file sizes. But it's easy for you to learn and easy for your players. Now, flip the coin. You have Foundry. Foundry is a one-time fee for a lifetime license if you host off of your own private computer. Meaning you host the game from your internet and your private computer, and your players connect to it through your internet connection, and onto your computer they play through your server that you host, okay? There are services that you can pay monthly, but then you're back to the monthly fee. Foundry, though, has an extensive library of modules, both paid and free, and the modules add tons of functionality. So as a stock tool, it comes with a lot of very powerful integration for maps, both animated and standard. You can host, you know, a game and play with your friends, have a lot of fun. It supports a lot of different systems. Yeah, it's a great tool. Now you have Fantasy Grounds, also one-time fee. It used to be quite a bit more at $150. I think they just dropped their price down to $50 for a lifetime, like, group license. I could be wrong on that, but I could have sworn I saw some news about that recently. So, I think every program has its pros and cons. They each have different styles and aesthetics and tools within them. I think you need to do some research and look into some videos and see what will work for you and your players the best. Definitely, Roy. Wow, Fantasy Grounds at 25 is not bad, actually. So, Fantasy Grounds and Foundry both have, like, a master license where if the DM has a license, everyone can connect and play. But only one session can be hosted from that license at a time. So no two DMs can host a session at a time from it. So, Shlomo, that's a good question. And there were some questions about this video while I was describing the other stuff. So let's get back onto the track of the video here. So, Owlbear is great, but until it's in our export list, I can't confidently recommend it, you know? And I've actually worked with them extensively, their community manager even directly. But unfortunately, Owlbear does this thing where they won't offer any sort of direct imports that support, like, file data information. In order to get a map imported to Owlbear that has data, you either need to do a UVTT import or use a module called Smoke Inspector, which supports Foundry maps of ours, like our Foundry exports. So you need a third-party module to make our maps work correctly, and as a result of which it's troublesome for us to add an export for them. That module could disappear at any point or lose support. In fact, in the time I've been monitoring that module, it's changed names 4 times and had 3 different groups of developers maintain it. Just private groups of indie developers update it and support it. So it's kind of hard for us to commit to it as an export. Whereas above VTT, on the other hand, they offered to work with us directly and offer an export option that was, or an import option that was directly compatible with DA, and we were able to work with them and do that, and that was UVTT. Now, that being said, there are a couple free, plenty free VTTs out there, like we just mentioned too. Owlbear and above VTT. They do work with Dungeon Alchemist. One is directly listed in our export menu, and the other one is not. I'll just leave it at that, okay? Now, when you look at this video, there's some missing context. This screen is recording from Whim's dev computer, which has like an 8K ultra wide monitor. So putting that into context, if we were to make a video of that, it would be like this really weird bar thing that you couldn't really see on a standard screen. So what he does is he records, and then he takes and screen caps like a little portion of it, and then makes that into a video, like a 1080 video. And half of his screen is missing because of this. So basically, there's some UI that is present in the new build that allows you to transition between the floors. I think it's present in the... Nope. Which video is it? I'm trying to find the video it's present in. Just give me a moment. Okay, you can see it in this video, but it really isn't in use. So over here on the side, you see this new icon, this new UI interface? There is a 0 in it and an up arrow. Until you've made a downward floor or an upward floor. By the way, this is an older video, so it's alpha, kind of doesn't really match the current build. You're at floor 0 at your base start of the build. As you start going down, you have -1, -2, -3. As you start going up, you have 1, 2, 3. You can essentially transition between those floors by clicking the arrow or using a hotkey, which is plus or minus, to transition between the spaces. Now, when you have the first floor and you want to add a second floor, you simply just press plus or the up arrow, and it jumps up to the next level, at which point you draw the new floor. It's very, very simple. In fact, it's so simple, it's easy to miss in the video. It's quick, it's straightforward, and, like, impressive. So all he does is draws one floor, and that's the whole point of it. It's designed to be simple. And he doesn't even click over there, he just presses the plus key, watch. If it showed the key he was pressing plus automatically makes a roof, jumps up to the next floor. It's incredibly simple and designed to be user-friendly, accessible, etc. Do we have any questions about this? It's a good question, Icebreaker. In my testing, it usually crashes before I can find a limit, and I don't know if that's the actual limit or if it's just beta alpha nonsense, because the build is unstable. But in my max, I've had 15 floors, and that was 8 up, 7 down. I was trying to do a mix, so I'd keep going up 1, down 1, up 1. I've got a 192 gigabyte machine? No. I mean, hey, you talking about RAM? I've got 132 gigabytes. So yeah, I've got a decent amount of RAM. So parts of my machine are like overpowered and parts of my machine are underpowered. So I've got that 4070 Ti, great graphics card, right? And then I've got a Ryzen 5900X, so I could have a better processor. And then I've got 128 gigabytes of RAM, but it's DDR4. So it could be better RAM. That's a good question, Fozzie. One level at a time. So we've opted to keep it simple and most compatible with the most amount of VTTs at the same time. So we've opted for the KISS method. Keep it simple, keep it stupid simple, right? So each level exports as a separate scene, i.e. a new JPEG for each floor. They're kind of just like a cross-section, a slice of the pie, or the cake as you go. Think of it like 3D printing. Each of it is like a layer, a layer, a layer, and it goes up and up. Now, each of those exports as a separate JPEG or video, and then you put those into your VTT as a separate scene. At which point, if your VTT has like a module that supports transitioning between those spaces, i.e. like Monk's active tiles or floors or something like that, that would allow you to automatically transition from scene A to scene B, floor 1, floor 2, etc. If you want to create a room that's taller, after you generate the floor above, you vault out the floor. So you can cut out a section of the floor and make like a balcony, a mezzanine, or you can essentially cut it out and vault upward, upward, upward to make more wall. Does that make sense? I think I have a clip of that. Give me a minute. This one here kind of shows it. So here you'll see you can pull sections out of the floor. You could actually go from corner to corner and just delete it all. So there's no floor anymore. But in this one, he wanted to kind of like a little balcony mezzanine setup. And this really is ideal if you look at this setup here. Or like, I think it makes the iconic tavern or saloon, where you have the inner lower bar area and then the decking up above with the rooms on the outside. Q1 2025 is the best answer I can give you right now. So soon, TM. The team's going out of office for a break till the 6th of January. So for the next 3 weeks, 2 weeks, there will be no progress on development. Yes, Faltrin, this is early access, beta, alpha footage of our next update. Welcome to the stream, by the way. My name is Mac. I'm the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Nice to meet you. So yeah, this is essentially footage of work in progress stuff for the update we're calling Fun with Objects, which is launching Q1 2025. It'll include, hundreds of new objects, quality of life improvements, features centered around object functionality, and then also multi-level improvements, room generation around the room tool. You'll be able to, add roofing and ceilings and do this kind of stuff. So Shlomo, if you're currently on the demo unfortunately won't include multi-level as far as I'm aware. They may update the demo to reflect that. That's a good question. So the demo might reflect it, but it'll still be limited to just the one biome and the one room type. If it does have multi-level, it'll just be the tavern, right? But that's right, you did purchase. I remember you said that, right? I think it was last stream or stream before. So if you own a copy of Dungeon Alchemist, this goes for everyone, whether you got it as a Kickstarter or any time since we've launched in early access between then and now, you get access to Dungeon Alchemist in its current state, meaning all of the updates up to this point, and then future updates until we leave early access. And those are major patches, essentially roadmap stops. So we have 5 major updates remaining until we leave early access, at which point we'll still do patching, quality of life improvements and whatnot to keep Dungeon Alchemist running smoothly and, modernize it and streamline it. But after we leave early access and go to a full release, essentially, we plan to offer optional expansion packs that would leave the fantasy aesthetic and go into things like sci-fi or cyberpunk or modern or apocalypse or something like that. It is possible to do that stuff now, but you have to use the workshop integration to do that. But we plan to offer, our own, let's say assortment of cyberpunk assets, maybe a couple thousand of them in a pack that comes with rooms, doors, windows, walls, floors, biomes, etc. And that would be optional, and that's way down the road, a couple years from now. So right now, you get all updates until we leave early access absolutely free, and then anything beyond that would be like patching and quality of life improvements still be very much free. So if we find a bug or something like that, we'll patch it out, no problem. If you've already bought DA, drop it in the streams, first off, huge. Okay, community initiatives like our weekly streams, we have 3 of them a week, okay? Every week we have the Dam stream. Well, we have a stream on Saturday, and that alternates every other Saturday. So today it's the Dam stream, where we showcase community maps, community assets, provide real support, show off teasers and, whatnot from the next update. Just kind of hang out, get to know each other as community members, all that. Opposite Saturday, so next Saturday, is the Dam Challenge. The Dam Challenge, you've been seeing this little marquee go across the bottom of the stream. The current Dam Challenge is frozen. Using that theme as inspiration, you make a map of any shape or size. You submit it to the Dam Challenge channel in our Discord. Pinned at the top of that channel are some rules. You must follow those rules to qualify. As long as you follow the rules and your entry is put in before the end of the challenge, time frame, you have a chance to win a $10 Hero Forge gift card. So I pick a winner. The winner gets a $10 Hero Forge gift card, and their map is the first map featured on the Dam Challenge stream. Roughly 20-30 minutes of airtime, FaceTime with our community, showing off your build. So you get to essentially show off your skill, flex your map maker muscle against the community, and then after that, we showcase every map that we can that entered as well in the challenge. And we pick a new theme every 2 weeks, challenge our community members to challenge themselves, so to speak, and make a map and put forth their best effort to make an interesting, kind of fun map. Anyway, the other streams we offer, Mapmaker Monday. Every Monday, I live build a map in real time for you to watch and learn. You can also share ideas for the build and suggestions. Currently, I'm building a cemetery. It's a massive map, 82 by 82, and the map is coming along quite well. I'd say we're about halfway done, and we've been working on it about an hour a week for about a month and a half now. Next, every Wednesday, we have what's called office hours, and that stream's a little bit different. All the other streams are multi-streams across like our multi-stream platforms. We have Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Steam, all those platforms. We're live right now on them, right? But on Wednesday's stream, that's Discord only. That's Discord exclusive, meaning if you are a member of our Discord, you can tune into that stream. We call it Office Hours. It's mainly a hangout session to get to know our community members, kind of vibe, provide each other support for each other's campaigns, but also map making support. And we kind of get into tangents, discuss, fantasy, sci-fi. It's really just a more laid back stream that also has support, okay? Now, moving on from that, you can combine objects. You just disable collisions and you merge them together. So yes, you can definitely combine objects. So as I showed earlier, let's say I want to merge this guy into the wall. I disable collisions. I guess the token's a bad example because it kind of snaps. But let's say I wanted to put this wall into that wall and kind of make it an overlapping wall. As long as collisions are off, you can merge two objects together. It doesn't link them together, it merges them together though, i.e. they fit in the same space. Sorry, merge can mean many things. In this case, I think context you were going for, Mosey, is something that links them together. There may be a tool in the next update that will allow you to combine objects together and save them as configurations. We actually do something like that in DA already on the development side. It's called a variant. Let me show you what it is really quick. So in Dungeon Alchemist, there's lots of objects that come pre-decorated. I'm sure you've noticed them and you're like, what the heck is this object about? Like tables and stuff like that, desks. Many of them come pre-configured with objects on top of them. That's called a variant. Now, if you press tab before you place this object in the environment, i.e. finalize it with a left click, it shifts between pre-configured variants. So you've noticed, I'm sure, when you make maps and place things, it does a different variation on a lot of stuff every time. If you're trying to make a match, you may want to press tab a few times until the same variant shows up each time. Now, we have a tool to create variants internally, but it needs refinement, and we did some testing over the last year through our community and Discord. Thank you to commitments from our community members that helped test that. We were able to refine that, and I believe they're developing a tool internally that would allow you to essentially create groupings of objects within certain limitations, okay? Save those groupings of objects and essentially copy and paste them across the map or between maps like a stamp, like a prefab stamp. Now, we also hope to expand that to the workshop, meaning there would be another addition to the workshop that would be like variants, and you could go through and see people's variants that they've created and download them. So maybe someone put together a little tent, pop-up tent shop, or a wagon filled with stuff, or whatever. Hey, Phoenix Path, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. By the way, I just want to say thank you to OpenJ for that sub in the last half hour. Much appreciated. So, yeah, any object that is pre-decorated, if you grab it and press tab before you place it, it will shift between those pre-configured variants. You know, I'll be honest with you, that's kind of a hidden hotkey. It's a little hidden lore within DA. Hey, can you share the wiki link to the hotkey page, please, Atlam? We have a page on our wiki that's loaded with hotkeys, and the hotkeys keep expanding with each update, and there's going to be new ones on the next update, so I'm going to have to update that. But essentially, hotkeys, I mean, are great for improving your workflow. I'm sure the power users in our community swear by them. You know, people who make maps like almost daily, or, you know, sell maps, or making maps for a campaign setting or whatever. But there are even hidden hotkeys that give you access to like secret tools that you may not be aware of. And it's kind of neat. So definitely check out that wiki document. But in each area, when a hotkey is available, usually it's labeled. You can see it right next to it, adjacent. But in some instances, the hotkeys are in fact hidden. So. Can you type merch, Atlam? We do have some limited merch through a third party. There's a few items on there, some cups and mouse pads and tumblers, and I think a couple clothing items. Nothing too extreme. Mainly because our focus right now in early access is Dungeon Alchemist itself, the product, not merch. Really, most of the merch we have is exclusive to our team members to wear on streams and in conventions and stuff. Do the assets from the workshop go into the DA folders? They download to a Steam folder, so wherever your Steam like base folder is, that's where it goes. But the problem is they're labeled as like a string of numbers and letters. They're not labeled as their name when they're downloaded, because that's how the workshop codifies and labels everything. They are on your computer somewhere until you unsubscribe from them, at which point it deletes them. I believe, stand by, give me a second here, see what I can find. What do you mean, Emmy? I'm confused. I didn't say it was over. Yeah, the Damn Challenge is a bi-weekly event. It's ongoing. Every 2 weeks is a new Damn Challenge. We pick a new theme as the old stream wraps up, and then go 2 weeks, going on and on. You should be able to connect to DA just fine, but like, make sure that if it's a mobile computer you haven't loaded DA on or access to any of those maps on, that you open them at least once from that machine. That way all those assets and maps are saved locally somewhere. You know what I mean? Because if it's on a desktop, you're loading them, and then you get on your laptop and go up there, they won't be saved locally to that machine. So what you want to do is sub to all the maps that you want, right? And the assets, and then open them up on the laptop through the sub map section. Or I guess if that's the main machine you use for everything, just make sure you open each map and download each asset you want to access. That way you can open DA without a problem. But as long as those have been pre-downloaded, yes. Or if it's all stock assets, then yes, it should be fine. You know, Icebreaker, I definitely see that happening. I don't think we'll stop continuing updates for DA after we leave early access. I just think after we leave early access, we'll be able to dedicate more focus to different things with our limited resources as a small team. So yes, there will be dedication to fixes and quality of life improvements. There will probably still be free major updates to DA. Like the devs have said they wanted to do something like World Alchemist at one point. Our lead developer has said he wants DA to be the only map maker you ever need. And the creator of Dungeon Alchemist said it would be fun to tackle something like an overworld biome or World Alchemist at some point. So, I mean, on the horizon, there are other things that weren't promised from our Kickstarter and aren't necessarily planned as paid expansions. There will definitely be free updates of all sorts that stick within the aesthetic, and I'm sure they'll probably even do asset packs and things like that to expand upon what we've had to kind of fill in the voids where we miss things. One thing the devs have said they wanted to do once we leave early access is offer VTT Lite features, whatever that means. What has been explained to me is things like Fog of War, dice rolling, possibly even limited multiplayer. Shlomo, I'm glad to hear that, but also it makes me concerned because if you hadn't found the stream, you'd probably be frustrated. So I'm wondering if there's something I can do as the community manager to make Dungeon Alchemist more accessible across the board. And this is open to everyone, really. I mean, is there something I can do to make it easier for you to use Dungeon Alchemist as a whole. Let me find my notebook really quick. Take a note. Hey, Bane, how you doing, buddy? Welcome back. One thing I will say, and keep in mind, this isn't so much suggestions as how to improve DA, but how to make it easier to use, okay? Not necessarily add-on features, but like maybe when you are accessing a DA as a new time user, remember when you were first getting into DA, what would make it easier to use? So more wiki content, more streams, more shorts with tutorials, you know, what kind of stuff would help you? Sogrim, you're hilarious. Oh, Bane. So you're actively trying to kill your players. I mean, whatever. Whatever makes you happy. Mosey, they do exist. Tooltips, you mean? Check this out. I'm gonna blow your mind. But yes, it would be awesome if there were hover tips, like a question mark, that was like, hey, how to use this. Is that what you mean? So, Shlomo, we did a series of long-form video, and the funny thing is everyone said make them shorter, and the stats of the long-form videos enforce that, because the majority, like 99% of people, would watch for 5 to 30 seconds and then stop watching. There was people who would keep watching through that were very interested. So we've decided recently to adapt to short-form video just based on the data. You know, I do love long-form content. I think that's just my era. So, like, you know, growing up when the camcorder, like, only came out at special events, like, you know, at a recital or, like, Christmas or a birthday, you know, camcorder wasn't, like, in your phone. You didn't use it every moment of the day or just for fun. And so I do feel like I resonate with it being a longer video for that reason. Nowadays, people just whip out their phone to just, like, record them doing something silly and then put it down, and that'll get millions of views. And that's, you know, short form to the queue. So what I've opted, and me and the devs have talked about this extensively, is we've tried to find a middle ground that works for everyone across all our platforms. And so what I've done is I've started writing scripts for short form videos. Because scripts, I'll be honest with you, are the hardest part, in my opinion. It could be different for everyone. But writing a video that is 30 seconds or less, that covers all the points you want to in that video, that is concise and, like, easy to cut, you know, matches what's on screen it's difficult. Let's just say production and, like, scripting everything and timing it is very difficult to do. So even a 30-second video. So I honestly have been trying to come up with, like, oh, this covers the collision toggle, this covers snow, this covers this, like little key features that you may miss in Dungeon Alchemist if you weren't aware. And those will be in a repository of videos on our YouTube called Tips, as well as across our various social platforms. I'm hoping that'll help as I start releasing them. I'm hoping after the new year, those will be start pushing out more extensively. I've been putting time into them. It's just like so much going on as we lead into the new update. A button guide inside of DA would help. The ability to tie functions to other buttons. Can you elaborate on that, Stormy? Icebreaker, you know, it would be awesome, right? You just, like, please make whatever I'm thinking. Like, once a week, someone will inevitably, across one of our social platforms, will be like, can Dungeon Alchemist make this dungeon that looks like a dark side elven core thing? And I'm like, what are you even, I don't even know what that is. Or is that something you're making up in your head? Like, a lot of times people will say something, they have a very specific idea of what they want in their mind's eye, right? And I usually have to look it up to be like, I don't know, because I don't know what this is. Now, that being said, we have given tools to our community to allow them to be as creative as they want by importing custom things. So if you can source an asset that fits that aesthetic or make it custom, then you can import it into Dungeon Alchemist and use it as a building tool. That being said, I do wish we could just think up something or generatively make things, but then it would put us into a weird kind of gray area, right? I do, a lot of people want a prompt generator in DA, but I gotta remind you, DA is not generative AI. It's proc gen, it's procedural gen, it's last gen AI. So it's not a mind reader, first off. It generates stuff within certain parameters. You give it those parameters and it generates it within it. So the parameters are the drop downs when you set up a map or a room, right? Dude, I think that was the hardest thing with the Blender basics, is I've been trying to cut them down into something that's concise and easy, that makes sense, and part of it was that missing video is a key piece of content. I've been meaning to sit down and talk with you, but I just haven't had time. You know the corrupt video? It like misses core content that bridges the rest of it, and it's hard to make it work. So I have hit kind of a wall in the editing that makes sense. And on top of that, we have like 30 hours of video to cut down into something that is short and worthwhile that people will want to watch. So I do appreciate you coming up with a more concise version. Maybe we can sit down and talk and see what aspects of Blender Basics maybe need to be cooked into that. Because at the end of the day, I feel like it was just like, it was best as a live stream, and converting it into a video, even a long form video, has been challenging. So you want to be able to go into like a menu like you can in a video game and set all the keys yourself. Essentially a customizable keys. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I get it, Shlomo, but the problem is too, I have standards from people above me that want me to keep it a certain kind of aesthetic and style. And then I have certain content that needs to be covered to a point. And then at the end of the day, I have to look at the results we have from, say, previous 5-minute videos and discern if it's worthwhile in today's like modern online climate. There will be maybe 1 in 100 people that watch a video over 2 minutes. It's crazy to me. There needs to be at least one square between them to generate. Hey, BB, how you doing? Happy holidays to you. Hope you've been well. Missed you around these parts. Yeah, I think because we aren't like a video game, right? There isn't key bindings in DA. But we did have a dev on the stream as a guest recently. Quentin was a guest on one of our office hour streams like a month and a half ago. And that was brought up, actually. Someone said, hey, Quentin, how would you feel about key bindings? And he goes, we never really thought about it because it's like more of a video game thing. Like, even in Photoshop, like everything's kind of set. I'm sure you can customize it, but it's like, in Word and tools and utilities, usually the hotkeys are configured for you and they don't give you much control over the key bindings. But I could see how, for workflow or accessibility reasons, it'd be a good idea. And having the ability to do custom keys would give more functionality for things around like a Stream Deck, etc. Last time I talked to you, it seemed like you were just starting that job. I'm sorry to hear that. It'll be easier to bridge rooms and buildings in the next update, but for now, if you try to generate 2 structures adjacent to each other, there needs to be, like if they're at different heights, there needs to be at least 1 square between them. Emmy, I did not notice your message. The dam stream and the dam challenge are different. They're 2 different streams. So every other Saturday is one stream, and every other Saturday is the other. The Damn Challenge is a focus on the map contest, right? So you have 2 weeks between each Damn Challenge from the time we show off the old maps, pick a new theme. You have 2 weeks to make a new map, submit it, I guess, roughly 12, 13 days. And then, so every 2 Saturdays, every other Saturday is a Damn Challenge stream. The opposite Saturday today is a Damn stream. The Damn stream is a focus on community maps, assets from the workshop, but also we provide real-time support. During the Damn Challenge, we can't actually really do that as easily because we're actively showing off maps from a contest. Kind of hard to do support during that. So if this wasn't the same height, right, start having this issue. Needs to be at least 1 square adjacent for it to work. Yeah, sorry about the confusion there. You know, I've been considering, like, changing our stream stuff, especially after all the events kind of got destroyed by Discord, or adding a new stream. There's been some requests from some of our viewers to add a more late night stream to accommodate to our viewers across the pond, and some of our night owl viewers, you know. And I agree, it would be nice to have a late night stream. So I'm thinking of adding a Friday night stream into the mix, but I'm trying to look at my schedule. It's probably going to happen after the new year. Honestly, I don't know what D&D Beyond has. To be honest, I haven't even looked into it. If they support JPEGs and MP4 or WebM, then yes, our maps will work. If they support UVTT, then yes, our maps should work. That being said, if they're not supporting those things, it was intentional to prevent, you know, outside sources and map makers to work with it. Because what I'm thinking of doing is offer a... Oh, BB, I'm sorry to hear that, and you had to put up with it for so long. Are you, I'm assuming, yeah, in between jobs at the moment. Do you have any prospects or anything like that? Cool. So, which formats were you using, Dyson? Let's go pull up another map from the workshop, speaking of which. Whoa! Did you just upload this, Dyson? S is for Stadium. I like your letter maps. Been fun to follow along. This is cool. Like how it's like built into it, like they quarried it right out of the mountain. Looks very cool. Got some like Roman vibes to it for sure. So Shlomo, do you happen to know what formats D&D Beyond offers for compatibility for their system? Left it open for dinosaur fighting? I mean, yeah. You could also just say that each of these squares is 10 feet, and that would really accommodate for animal fighting of all kinds. Okay, let's find out. Because I have not even used it. Maps? Is it the Maps tool, right? Gotcha. So more than likely, it's just a JPEG that it's supported. Yeah, I guess. I mean, at that point, I would still rather use like Above VTT or something like that. Mainly because Above offers direct integration with D&D Beyond, and our maps work with it with lighting, line of sight, windows, walls, doors, with a UVTT export. So Above VTT is an extension for Chrome and etc., and it plugs right into D&D Beyond campaigns. Oh, cool. I was looking for the fact. I was trying to find it. So JPEG would work. We don't offer exports for PNG or WebP at the moment, so JPEGs would be it. Thank you for finding it. I was like looking all over here trying to read it. Can I just say, TikTok, thank you for the likes today. We have over 500 likes on the stream. That means so much to me. Much depreciated. By the way, I just want to say hello to our Steam viewers. I know we got a lot of people watching on Steam right now because of the Steam sale. So thank you for tuning in and checking us out while we're, you know, participating in the Steam winter sale. My name is Mac. I'm the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. If you have any questions about what you're looking at, what you're watching, how does it work, what is it for, you know, tune in and open up the chat window. You can click show chat in the bottom right and join us and ask questions. These streams are AMA format, so feel free to tune in and ask away. Kind of feeling like throwing a free key out to Steam to the first person that says something. Oh, I don't do that often. You know what I mean, Shlomo? Once in a while, we used to do giveaways on the stream when we'd hit certain milestones, but now that we do a multi-stream, it's really become difficult. But I really like to entice the Steam viewers out. They, for some reason, I don't know what it is, but it's just not as straightforward to use the chat over there, and so not as many people do it. I know, I'm kind of calling them out, and I feel bad. They have to create a bunch of assets for us. Oh my. Oh my. Yeah, you would just have to kind of sculpt it by hand using the terrain tools. You wouldn't do it with an object. We don't really have any like ramps or anything that does that. So like the smooth terrain tool is a great way to kind of peel it back, and then you can do like a flatten in here and then do like terraces across one area, and then essentially when you get to one area, then you can kind of flatten it out and get to another area, raise it up, and it kind of makes switchbacks or paths, little areas they can hop up and crawl over. But the flatten tool and the smoothing tool are really great. The flatten tool picks an area that's like the flattest in its area and creates like an average flat space, and then you just kind of combine them. So that's a quick example, but there's many maps on the workshop that do it quite well. Let me show you one of mine. Using terrain, it's definitely possible, Sogrum. Terrain, yes. He didn't necessarily specify between rooms. He said, how do you do a passage that slows down? A passage, in my mind, could also be like a cavern or, you know, something like that. It could be in rock just as much, or terrain, as it could be in a building. But So like in this building here, like I have done transitional spaces, several of them, by using a combination of like, you know, scaffolding and railways and terrain. This to me was like their little bathing area at base camp. So this is a massive dwarven prospector mine I built. It's 60 by 60. But yeah, terrain option would probably be the best way to go, because realistically, the only things you have that can kind of slope downward would be like stairs. And if it were me, I'd probably just use the upward stairs, or even railways can work, but terrain's probably the best way to go, because it just gives you a little bit more control. But like there's a whole area up here, slopes down, pitfalls. Yeah, Mosey, you can do rooms at different height, just multi-level isn't supported by the room generation at this time. So you can have a room that's way up and way low. So here, watch. Essentially, before you fine-tune the floor plan, before you click generate, I know it's like everyone wants to click check right away, but before you generate the floor plan, you can move it around. You can rotate it, right? You can raise it up and down. You can even shape it and make it rounded, diagonal, or like bites into it, like, you know, concave bites, is that what it is? You can do convex cuts, concave cuts, and diagonal cuts. Raise it up and down, sink it into the ground, raise it far above the ground, generate it. Now, you can't generate another structure on top of this. It would have to be placed by hand with objects. You could generate another structure adjacent to it, just below it, though. Yeah, the flatten tool is my favorite terrain tool. It's hard to explain how it fully works. Okay, so every space within the circle, it determines what the most average flat space is. So if it's kind of high and kind of low, it'll kind of pick between the two and then flatten it out. And then as long as you hold your left click, it'll flatten everything to that height. So it's really nice for making like a little terrace or a path in this area, because now it's all the same height. But what I like to do is kind of do something like this and then do a smoothing. Couple clicks with the smooth tool once you got it flattened, and then you have a walkway there that's kind of like a ramp. Or you could take a staircase. In this case, let's go to the structural upstairs. Let's grab like something like this. Disable collision so it's not trying to snap and driving me crazy. And then just kind of sink it into the ground a little bit. So it's kind of blended, but, you know, it might be growing over. And at the end of the day, you could just take the terrain tool, come in here to flatten again, and pull it away from those stairs. Good to go. Remember, when collisions are disabled, you can merge things into things, too. So that ramp could easily be some structural stuff. Alrighty. Surprisingly enough, no one took me up on that offer on Steam. I'm in shock. Okay, it's passed. The moment passed. They're shy on Steam. That, and I think in the mobile platform, the chat doesn't show by default, and it's hard to get it to pop up. So if you're watching on like a mobile device or something, it's a little bit more troublesome. 1 second. Just heard a loud thud in the hall. I want to see what that is. All right, let me open up another map. We were just looking at that. Let's look at the stadium again. Kind of had to jump over here. Excuse me, I don't know where that yawn came from. Could be because there is a major construction program in my neighborhood where they're diverting all the freeway traffic through my neighborhood all night long. So the street adjacent to my house has thousands of cars passing through it all night. When normally it's like only like 100 or less for the entire night. Very cool. Very demure. Right, Dyson? They're building an overpass by me, and at night when they bring the cranes in, so these loud cranes all night long on one side, and then the other side is all these construction vehicles, cement trucks, semis, regular vehicles passing through because they can't use the freeway there, and they divert through 2 blocks of neighborhood. Hey, Shy Flames, how you doing? Welcome back. Yeah, same to you. I hope everyone here, if you are going to be traveling, I hope you have safe travels and hope you have a fun holiday week, whatever holidays you may or may not be celebrating. Oh my gosh. So when I moved to Vegas, that Spaghetti Bowl like intersection in Centennial Hills area, my first place I moved to, they were working on that before I lived there for about 2 years, and then during the time I lived there. And then I moved out of that place to another area of town. And then I drove over there recently and discovered that they only just finished it like 6 months ago. It'd been 8 years. 8 years. The Northern West Spaghetti Bowl, not the one down by the Strip. That one's like a madhouse. I love this, though, Dyson. You did a great job. So for those wondering, I live in Vegas. I'm the only team member on the Dungeon Alchemist team that is stateside. All the rest are in Europe. In fact, they're pretty much all in Belgium. So I'm the oddball out. I'm the odd American out. It's always so confusing when they try to talk to me in meetings because they talk about, like, millimeters and kilometers and stuff, and I'm over here trying to measure with bullets and eagle feathers. It doesn't add up or make sense. So haven't seen an orange cone since you left Vegas. Curse you. It is a little bit, huh, Bear? It makes me sad, but it is what it is. Is the stream kind of quiet over there, or is it just the chat? They'll be like, Mac, can you deliver this within this timeline of days, months, and hours? And I'm like, I'm sorry. If you don't express that in as many units between now and the 4th of July, I'm not sure. Honestly, no, I'm just joking. We just joke around about that. Have some fun with it. I think it's great, actually, leaving it open like this. It could be an abandoned structure that's been there for ages, you know? Recently excavated structure. Or it could be something that's really well trafficked and they could just fill in the blanks, you know, add some trash, detritus, whatever. I like it. Oh. So, I have really good news. Well, good news for me. It's not community news. It's Mac news. It's Mac. So, my one shot with my friends went very well. It was an overwhelming success. They all had a lot of fun. They enjoyed the DM as a producer, content creator, and they enjoyed the group chemistry so far. No problems. And I am so happy. Because I think part of trying to find a successful group is that initial, like, hump, if you will. Trying to get the group aligned and interested in a session, get a DM on board, get a date, you know, and then get everyone interested. And this group is all on board. We're all excited for our next date. It's all locked in stone. And, like, this one shot is now evolving into something more long-term. I'm just really hyped because they're all really good long-term friends of my family. And it's got the potential to be a really strong group. Anyway, I was very excited that each one of them like approached me individually and was like, "Oh, I had so much fun. The DM was great. I want to play again." You know, and so we just started talking about dates and solidified something in January. So right now with this group, it's kind of a fragile state, you know. I think the 1 day a month thing is good because it doesn't ask too much commitment from them, i.e., you know, they don't need to put in tons of time every month with their work and family and hobby schedules as they get used to this new thing on their time plate, you know? And then as they get more excited and into it, maybe we'll expand to 2 sessions a month or whatever. But for right now, I think the group is doing really well, and I'm excited to see where it goes. A lot of interesting characters in the group. We had a lot of fun in the one shot. A lot of silliness happened, and I really enjoyed my character in particular, my Lucknomancer. Shy Flames, hop in. The next challenge is Frozen. Do you want to build a snowman? I mean, it's the perfect time, too, because, I mean, you might be on a holiday break or have some time to sit down. But you have between now and the end of day on the 27th to submit a map, so quite a bit of time still. Lucknomancer. So let me break down this build, Icebreaker. You're going to love it. Okay. So, starting. Halfling, okay? So, as a halfling, you get halfling luck, right? Which, quite a great background feature. You know, or like a race feature. Yes, divination wizard with lucky. So, halfling, but it's a little different mix. So, my halfling wizard is actually a multi-class. I started with a dip into artificer. So, I started as an artificer, which is smart for several reasons, especially early on. First and foremost, it gives me a prepared spell list that is just known. It's like a spell book that already has all the spells in it. Limited in scope, but it's there. I get access to light and medium armor, shields, simple weapons, and my saves are now Constitution and Intelligence instead of Intelligence and Wisdom. Now, right after that one level in Artificer, first level, 2 levels into Div Wizard, meaning got my subclass and I'm now got Portent. I also, when I was building my character, I took the rewarded background, which allows you to take lucky as a feat to start. So I have very expansive lucky traits. So let's go into this first off. As an artificer, my cantrip, I took one of them as guidance. So I have permanent guidance, basically, on a wizard, which is insane. Okay. I also made sure that I have shield and also silvery barbs on my spell list to start. Essentially, all of those things in tandem for a level 3 character is quite interesting. Luck dice, portent rolls, you know, silvery barbs or shield if things get a little too hairy or just not quite expenditure enough to use a luck dice, and guidance myself for skill checks. During the encounter, I was able to use my luck to my benefit very well. Oh, and the DM let us build our character using races from any of the books, as long as they weren't like Rick and Morty or Minecraft or whatever. So I took like it's like a halfling from Ravnica, and they're like a hospitality halfling or whatever. So I got prestidigitation for free from that, and purify food and drink for free, 1 casting a day, and invisible servant free, or unseen servant once a day as a casting. And I get a D4 to all my persuasion checks as part of that as well. So during this event, I rolled and I failed a persuasion check that, like, I needed to convince a whole bunch of, we were doing a prison break and we broke a bunch of prisoners out and I wanted them to join us. And otherwise they would have just been going crazy and fighting us and fighting whoever, just causing whatever, maybe running outside, immediately giving us away, whatever. So I had to do a persuasion check, and then I combined that with like with a luck die and saved the day, and able to get like a really good high persuasion check, even though my charisma's really low. And then one of my friends got hit with a crit, and I used a silvery barbs to take that away. And I used a portent with our warlock's intimidation check to get all the prisoners in line. There's like 15 people, and they were starting to go crazy, stealing everything. They were taking our gear, and so everyone in the party was getting distracted and not fighting the guards, and they were trying to get their gear back. And so I gave him a 19 portent, and he did an intimidation check. They all dropped it and like fell in line and started doing what he said. Yeah, Mark of Hospitality, that's what it is. I don't know what book it's from, but that's what I chose. But because I did custom background, or custom origin, I was able to realign like the ASI points from that background into something more ideal. So I put it into Con and Int. Is it Eberron? Okay, I wasn't sure what book it's from. But essentially, I made like the perfect little, like, everybody likes me luck hobbit. I mean, a one-shot might be a good idea to just kind of break it up and do something different you want to try once in a while, right, Mosey? So you mix it in with once in a while, like, maybe you throw in like a more, like a, I don't know, like an Eberron one-shot or a Cyberpunk one-shot or something like that. Oh, goodness, Dyson. Good to know, Icebreaker. Honestly, I was just accessing all their library of content when I was building a character, and I wasn't even sure where it was from. But I just liked the spells it gets over time. Eventually I'll get, like, Aid, you know, and it just comes with, like, a good berry, which is interesting to start mechanically. As a wizard, having good berry, I find it interesting, because it's like 10 little baby heals, or it kind of makes survival less trivial. Or, you know, or more trivial, I guess. Anyway. So several times my luck came into play. I, you know, changed the outcome of things and, you know, won the day. It was very cool. We're playing in 2014 rule set at the moment. Though I do think this campaign will probably incorporate bastions in it, at least, with time. I've been talking to the DM about that. Hey, see you, Michelle. We'll talk later, okay? Have a good one. All right, so I just noticed the time. We're actually, 10 past the hour here, which means the stream should be wrapping up. I had a lot of fun hanging out with you all. Appreciate you all being here supporting this community initiative. Remember, we host several streams per week. 3 of them, actually. And on top of that, we're active on several social media platforms. All the major ones, including the new Blue Sky platform. We're active on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, etc. So if you are, active in one of those platforms or more, definitely make sure you check us out, drop us a follow, and follow along with all our teasers and upcoming content as we share, dates for streams, highlight team members, share teasers and dates and upcoming information. Thank you everyone for being here today. I really appreciate you all supporting the stream and supporting our community by, participating in these streams, checking out these maps, checking out the assets, being interested and wanting to learn more about Dungeon Alchemist. I hope every one of you learned something today. If not, just something really simple about Dungeon Alchemist, maybe something crazy you learned today. I would like to just take a moment and just ask if anyone feel like they learned something today, because that's important for me. The streams are here to guide you as a community, whether it's learning new features and cool tools and tips and tricks about Dungeon Alchemist, or you discovered an awesome map or creator on the workshop or anything. Tab for variant objects. Yeah, that's something a lot of people don't know about, so I'm glad you got to learn about it. We'll be back Monday with Mapmaker Monday, all right? And I'm pretty sure I'll be live tonight with a bonus stream, hanging out, kind of highlighting the sale, just letting people know about it, providing support and answering questions. Just, an AMA stream. A DAMA stream, right? Dama stream. I was gonna kind of just start saying something funny, ironically. We're a Damily here. Shlomo, I'm glad I was able to help you out. You'll become a pro map maker in no time. Damily, right? So there's this hilarious show on FX as of late, What We Do in the Shadows, and it's kind of like a mockumentary, a la kind of like The Office, but it's about a group of vampires. And there's a character in the show named Colin Robinson who is a special type of vampire. He's an energy vampire. He's not a traditional vampire in that he, hunts and sucks your blood and kills you. He actually drains you of your energy by talking to you because he's so boring. And oh, Icebreaker, you're gonna unsub? What? You hurt my heart. I'm just kidding. Go ahead, unsub if you want. Anyway, so in What We Do in the Shadows, Colin works like a corporate job. He's the only person in their coven of vampires that actually works a real job, and the rest of them don't really know how modern society works. He works in a corporate office. He dresses normal, acts like 9-to-5 person, but he's just the most boring dude you'll ever meet. He'll talk about random things that don't have any interest to you, and it slowly siphons your life force off of you. And you don't even realize it. And he says there's probably an energy vampire everywhere. You probably have worked with one before. And when you think about it, it's just so funny. Anyway, so he basically will say unironic phrases that are just soul-sucking corporate phrases, and to try and engage with his friends. And one of them, he's like, we're a family here. If you work at an office of hundreds of people and they say that while they're having a pizza party, just may want to rethink your career path. But anyway, honestly, I'm just saying that before we wrap up, because that's why I was saying that randomness. So, me saying we're a damily here, ironically, as, you know, talking about us as the damn fam or the damn nation is quite funny in my head. I don't know. I had to explain it a little bit. We're a damily here. Anyway, thank you everyone for hearing to my incessant ramblings and whatnot. I appreciate you all supporting the stream today. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Dungeon Alchemist is this amazing map maker you see in front of you. Just want to remind everyone watching right now, Dungeon Alchemist has a free demo available on Steam. So if you're watching and you're interested in trying it out, you can load up your Steam app and download the demo for free. Try it out before you buy, see how it runs on your computer. The demo is a modest file size. It's 6.7 gigs, last I checked. And that includes access to the forest biome and the ability to build a tavern. Now, that is just a small slice of what Dungeon Alchemist is, the overall pie, so to speak. So if you're interested in checking out the full thing, you know, we have hundreds of hours of streams where you could see it in action, but Dungeon Alchemist is on sale right now. 20% off. Very good deal. We're participating in the Steam Winter Sale. Very honored to participate. And very glad we could offer this to our community. So if you're interested in getting Dungeon Alchemist at the best possible deal, 20% off is usually the best price you can get it at. I've never seen it lower than that in my 2+ years working for us. So take a look at the demo, check out the sale, and yeah, make sure you grab this before it's not on sale anymore if you're on the fence, because it's the best time to buy. Alternatively, if you already own a copy of Dungeon Alchemist and you just want to spread the love, maybe you are part of another campaign, remember your DM could always benefit from this. So make sure that if you can take advantage of that sale and spread the love to that DM that deserves it in your life. And other than that, thank you everyone for being here. We'll see you next time. Wait, what's up? Why didn't I saw the Stream Award nominations? You know, honestly, we've been around for a few years. We've gotten some awards at other platforms, you know, through like the Belgian Game Awards and stuff. We're just not that big of an indie company compared to, say, like Tiny Glade. They definitely had quite a bit of virality behind them as well. They kind of blew up initially. But it is kind of its own thing. You're just building a map. It really doesn't have a purpose in exporting, but people could use it that way, right? Anyway, I don't think we were even nominated to win the award. And last year, some of the nominations were like AAA studios. It made 0 sense. So anyway, it's okay. We don't really worry about the Steam Awards, but we have been, you know, in other awards and have done panels and stuff like that. So Dungeon Alchemist has been recognized in its own right, in its own time. And maybe once we hit full release, we'll probably be more in the awards circuit again. Anyway, thank you everyone for being here. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager. We'll see you next time. I give a damn. Mac out. Bye.